Right. First assignment we have is the 1.2 packet tracer. Configure SSH on a router and connect. So what we're going to do is go over SSH, secure shell. It's a cryptographic network protocol for operating network services securely over an unsecured network. Typically, applications include remote command line, login, and remote command execution. So on here, what we do, we set up a router, the ISR 4321, with the PC PT to the desktop that they have for you there. So what we're going to do first is set the static IP address on the desktop to 192.168.110. There we go. Subnet mask right there, and default gateway pulls up right there. Once you get that done, we're going to move over to the router. And then once we get into the router, we'll be doing the things on the CLI, command line interface. And what we're doing here is changing things here without actually being in there. So there's the command lines for it also as well. So we're going to go to the CLI. And what we do at the CLI is where we start, we're going to type enable. And what that does is gives us higher permissions. Here we go. Oh. So what this is doing, it just went through what I did when I was on the config thing. So pretty interesting. So what we're going to do first is enhance the permissions that we have. So that's why we type in enable. And then the next thing we're going to do is configure the terminal. And then once we're in the configuration for that, we're going to go to the interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. And then once you're in there, we're going to configure the IP address to 192.168.1.1, and then the subnet 255.255.255.0. And then after you do that, we're going to type in no shutdown, which turns on the port, makes it able to be reached. And the next prompt that we're going to do is exit back, going into the normal configuration mode. Once you go back from there, then what you'll do is provide a name. You'll add an IP domain and generate a crypto key. So from there, we're going to make the host name 4321 router. And then once you do that, it switches and it changes the name from just regular router to 4321 router, like we see here. And then after we do that, we're going to make the domain name, and we're going to make that SSH-1 or -1. Then the next thing we're going to do is do the crypto key generate. And then also, once you do that, it's going to ask us how many bits in the modulus. 512, 1024, 2048. 1024 is a good middle ground. So we're going to go with that. And then once you do that, and you hit enter, you'll see a message that says generating 1024-bit RSA keys. Keys will be non-exportable, so that means you won't be able to take them off of that shell. And then OK confirms that everything worked. So the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to configure the line virtual teletype, which is used to facilitate a connection to a daemon via telnet. So what we're going to do is type in VTY 015, and then we'll see a message that says MAR1, and then a bunch of numbers and letters, and then at the end of it, it says has been enabled. Once you do that, you're going to do transport input SSH. And what that does is make it so that it doesn't use any of the telenet. It only uses SSH. After we do that, we're going to do login local. And what that does is just make you have to be, present on the shell to log in. And then the next one is IPSSH version 2. So we're just naming the version of SSH that we're going to use, and version 2 is typically a more secure version. So then moving through, the next thing that we did in this area was set up a username, and what that looked like was 4321 router with the being in the config. You make the username name, and then the privilege 15, and then you do password Cisco 1234. And what that does is adds a username and sets the password to 1234. Cisco 1234. And then you're going to exit back out of that. And then you're going to write memory to save the configuration file, because we don't want all the work we just did to go away. And then the next thing you do, you're going to want to test your SSH connection from the PC. So what we'll do here, we'll just open up the PC right here, go to the command prompt, and then what we're going to want to type in is SSH-1 name 192.168-1-1. But I might have entered it in wrong. SSH. Is it an L or an I? There we go. And then Cisco 1234. Now we're inside. Perfect. So everything that we did previously has worked, and that's how we get into our router right there. Yeah, in this video, it was really good. I liked it. It set a good challenge, and had a lot of fun diving into this one. It goes over kind of what an SSH is, but just to kind of get a better understanding, it's more of like a protocol that allows secure access and management of remote systems over an unsecured network. It's pretty much as basic as it gets. It uses public key encryption for authentication and data encryption as well. So, good thing to note about that. But thanks for watching. I appreciate you taking the time. Thanks.